All right, here's a good topic for you. How about multiple personality? I think they call it multiple personality disorder. I'm sure they got a name like that for it. Another one would be synthetic personalities, or as we would call them in Scientology, valences. So I'm going to define a couple of things here because they're going to be used in a little excerpt I have from L. Ron Hubbard coming up. And the first one is a circuit. He uses the term a circuit. And in mental phenomena, a circuit is like similar to in electronics, where you have this loop where a current passes all the way around. It makes a circuit. Well, in the mind, this was noticed early on in Dianetics and has continued on to today, that these mental circuits that we notice we have, the most common, I guess, example would be the tune that keeps playing over and over in your head. It's a circuit. It's playing on a circuit. And there's many of these types of things, but this video is going to be about the next topic, which is valences. We're going to come back and do a separate one on circuits. But what's a valence? Well, again, it's synthetic personality. There are multiple personality disorders, multiple personalities within the same person. It's defined as a combined package of a personality which one assumes as does an actor on a stage, except in life one doesn't usually assume them knowingly. So people are acting out of different personalities unknowingly or out of their control. That's what we're going to talk about here. Here we go.
In other words, somebody could mock up what we call a circuit. Some kind of an electronic gimme-gahoodget that talks back. Valences, the combined package of a personality which one assumes, as does an actor on a stage, except in life one doesn't usually assume them knowingly. Generally he did it first, and then after a while he was stuck with it. He doesn't know why he talks like Grandpa. He doesn't know why he chews snuff like Grandma. He wouldn't be able to tell you the answer to those things, but an auditor could come along and say to him, did you know somebody who talked like that? And he says, I don't know. Nobody but Grandpa. Can you recall one moment or an instant of time when you heard Grandpa talking like that? And the pre-clear says, well, yes. Yes, matter of fact, I can. That expertly done would finish off that valence. Why? Because it can only operate if it's out of present time. And to snap the pre-clear off that operational spot and snap him into present time is to finish entirely this lag in the telephone wire with a fellow talking to himself in the phone booth.
All right, so let's take this head on, and I want to, while it's fresh in your mind, what LRH was just saying there about it's a symptom of being out of present time. And that's very important, because one of the remedies, and I'll talk more about other remedies, but one of the strongest remedies for the situation about being out, what we call out of valence, in other words, somebody is not themselves, they're acting out some other character in the little play that they're involved in life, but they're acting out of valence and they're out of present time. They're not in present time. This is so important to understand. And one of the remedies, one of the very powerful remedies, is the maligned and mocked and sometimes ridiculed training regimens or training routines. You know, people like to say, well, they sit and they stare at each other. No, they don't. But those training routines of doing those drills, they're designed for auditor training, but they're for life, and they could be used. They're very powerful communication skills. But those training routines bring a person more and more gradually into their own valence. Now, the other approaches to handling this phenomena of being out of valence, the whole Scientology bridge basically, bit by bit, piece by piece, it dismantles these vestiges of other identities one has been carrying around with themselves since, well, for a long, long time. And there is a special rundown that's done sometimes. It's at the discretion of a case supervisor, but it's a special rundown. The name of it called LX list, just for anybody that wants to know or look it up. But those are targeted at handling this phenomena of being out of valence. If it's, auditing is not progressing because the person is so wildly out of valence, then these LX lists can be used to address that. Obviously, if you're not yourself when you go into auditing, then you're not getting the gains because you're auditing or you're receiving the auditing from some other perspective and viewpoint. Now, just to go back over this, what are we talking about with valences or multiple personalities or synthetic personalities? They're something that one has adopted, usually, like in early Dianetic theory, it was based off of the idea that someone won at some point and you lost, so therefore you had decided to adopt that valence, that identity as a winning formula for life. So you saw dad successfully being mean to other people or drivers on the road, let's say. Well, that seemed to be a successful way to be, so there you are, yelling at other traffic, yelling at the traffic, or some such thing. Or mom or Aunt Emily, who, just always was busy making pies. So, there you find yourself later in life making pies because that's the way to succeed in life. I'm trying to pick some silly examples, but these are synthetic personalities that we adopt usually from some incident or some overwhelm that occurred back either in early life or, as we know later from Dianetic theory on forward into the present, we know that this mainly get picked up or adopted on the whole track. Many, many past lives, many different valences, many different, actors on these stages. So you can pick and choose these valences. Are you going to be a flaming gay man, or the rough and tumble, lumberjack type, there's just this whole variety we can choose from, or not even knowingly choose from. I mean, one thing if you were self-determinedly in present time deciding, okay, I'm going to be Joe the erudite professor type, and that's what you were going to be, and that's what you projected out to the world, and there you go. But unfortunately, people are doing that or acting these certain roles and unknowingly are out of their control. So the course of auditing, the whole bridge, bit by bit dismantles these. You find these, you discover these, you take them apart, and you become more and more yourself. That's where people in auditing are constantly heard to say, I feel more myself, I feel more alive and rejuvenated, because naturally if you're not busy working at being, Julius Caesar from a couple thousand years ago, that's a tremendous relief and burden off of your chest. So you can now just go about your business and do what you want to do. You don't have to do what Mama said or Grandpa said. You don't have to become a doctor because Uncle Louie told you that was the way to succeed in life. You can go off and be, a boondocker and live off grid and do your thing, whatever you want to do. So it gives us a lot of freedom when we get rid of these valences, these unwanted synthetic personalities. Now there's another unique little thing that we've noticed in life where we have people that are very destructive. Like, let's take the most, egregious example, say an Adolf Hitler. What was he? I mean, what the heck is that about? But you don't have to be an Adolf Hitler to be destructive in life. We've seen these type of personalities, and the technical fact is that again, they're out of present time. They're if you got in there, if the person would sit down and allow himself to be audited and it handled, then auditing would eventually handle these people. But it's like dealing with a caged lion or a water buffalo that's stuck in mud. You got to approach very cautiously. So whether or not we'd ever get an opportunity to help them is questionable. But basically, on the whole track somewhere, they were fighting a battle, they lost, they were overwhelmed, and they're still fighting that battle in present time. So everything they do is calculated to destroy or win that old battle or those old battles. And that's the valence that they're in. So that sheds a tremendous amount of light and understanding of what's going on in the present day world, in your environment, if you happen to be unfortunate enough to run into one of these toxic personalities. So it can be taken to an extreme where it's very destructive to people around someone that is dramatizing this type of phenomena. But in our normal, whatever you quote unquote normal people, they have these valences. They're not happy with them. They notice that why am I doing this? Why am I acting this way? And of course, the psychologists, they diagnose it as bipolar or something, and the drug companies make billions of dollars prescribing medications to fix it, when we could sit somebody down across from somebody and have them do TRs for a couple hours and probably knock out a lot of these valences. But anyway, read more about it, understand more about it by going to Scientolopedia, get a technical dictionary. We have it in our library. You can get these definitions of circuit, valence, anything else that is not clear. Also in we have a glossary of terms there at Scientolopedia, so just find the glossary on the left-hand panel and look up some of this terminology. We have plenty of books. Get with a practitioner if you are interested in getting some help with this. We want to learn how to do those training routines, etc. Also, don't forget to follow us, subscribe to this channel, and click likes and give it a thumbs up and all those things. And we'll see you again very soon. Hopefully this was a little bit helpful, and it's an interesting topic. So post your comments in the comments below. Thank you very much.